Fly inspired. NA players, some of them have decent mechanics, but I think they just don't have brain. Okay, nice. Nice. I'm sure that Reddit will love this. Honestly, I think Reddit is kind of warming up to Inspired, but a year ago, if Inspired said this, people would just like, all the comments would always be, then get the f out of the region. Then what the f are you doing in the region? Like, God, does anyone else just find Inspired insufferable? Like, it would just be these types of comments over and over again. But I've always liked Inspired because I think he's smart about the game and I think he's a really good player. So that's what I care about. What do you think about, what do you think of this C9 versus TL draft and who's going to win? I don't know. Honestly, I feel like TL got their best chip on every single player. If they don't win this game, then I don't know what draft TL needs. I feel like TL should find a way to win, and then TL lost. Are you confident that Fly is the best team in the league? I mean, I don't know. I'm the best jungler in the league for sure, and I think I view the game well, and I think I'm good at giving knowledge and ideas to my team. And I think I'm really happy with the progress they're making. I think everyone is on the same page on how we should play. As long as we keep performing like we do in most of our practice games, and like we do on stage so far, I'm confident we're going to win. So, like, hopefully we don't switch back into playing kind of without thinking, because I think that is our biggest problem last year. There was a lot of games that were, I don't know, just dash. A lot of games that were, fill it in, last year in Brazil. I mean, Brazil probably as well. I mean, I don't even remember because I just deleted it from my memory, because overall players, especially our bot lane, just didn't really use brain that much. Bro, he's like, look, is my team gonna win? I don't know. I'm the best, but my team, like, I don't know if they're smart enough. Our bot lane just didn't really use brain that much when they played. They just played on their mechanics because they're very good mechanically. And right now, me and the coaching staff are pushing them that they need to, like, calm down with mechanics and just use their brain. And I think they are doing a really good job. Like, so far, the games on stage and in practice seems like they actually have a plan when they play. And I think if they have a plan how they want to play, and they are obviously better mechanically than every other player on their role in the league, I think they'll be very solid. And if that happens, I think we'll win the league. Get Deja Vu playing with Masu and Busio. On your pros episode this week, with Impact and Vulcan, you describe a similar thing with Jojo PN, where they're like, I know he's mechanically good. Can he use his brain? Yep, it's for sure the same. Yeah, I think overall NA players, some of them have decent mechanics, but I think they just don't have brain. And sadly, there's not many people in the league that actually have a brain to teach the new players. They come into a mediocre team. They're playing with mediocre players and mediocre coaches that actually don't know the game, but they think they know the game, and they try teaching them. And then it becomes a mess. And if you already learned the game in one way, it's kind of hard to relearn it. Damn, bro. Everyone is a retard. That should just be the fucking title of this interview. Inspired calls everyone retarded. Like, that is that not what's happening here? He just thinks everyone is stupid. He's talking about me. Maybe he is, bro. Maybe he does think that I'm just fucking stupid. I think that was kind of the issue with Busio. I think he learned the game a certain way on 100 Thieves, and I just couldn't believe it. Someone taught him a lot of concepts, so it was hard at the beginning, but I think right now he really understands. I just couldn't believe someone taught him a lot of concepts. So I thought it was kind of hard at the beginning, but I think right now he understands his job, and it's like he's a completely different player than he used to be at the beginning of last year. So yeah, I think the biggest difference, like for the young players that never played competitive, I think they need to get into a good environment if they want to succeed, because I do believe that NA has some mechanically talented players, but there is no one that can really teach them the game well. So I think that's why, like, it's been for a long time that, like, the team with Impact, the team with Core JJ, then ever since I joined, the team with me, like, finishes kind of high up, because I think we just have we do a good job at teaching the players on how they should progress the game. And I think obviously you can't teach everything. Sometimes people make mistakes and you have worse games, and then you're just not always meant to win. But the teams with these players always are contenders to win it. Do you think River is the same way? Because I hear things similar from River, from his teammates, and he does finish quite well. He always does finish quite well. Yeah, I mean, maybe possibly he is like that as well. I think playing against him seems like he understands the game. Sometimes he's just a bit crazy with the stuff he does. So I'm just not really sure how to judge it. I would need to see the inside of the team, right? So for me, it's hard to judge, but judge it exactly. But the way he plays, he for sure is the leader in the game. I can tell just by watching him play and playing against him. But I think sometimes he does a bit crazy stuff that sometimes pays off and sometimes it doesn't. He for sure is that type of person. Yeah. Do you have any recent fun anecdotes with the team? Not recently. Not recently. I mean, recently we've been playing League all the time. Older stories are fine too. Oh, older stories. I don't know. Honestly, we're not that funny. We just come to the office. We play League all day, and yeah, we are just trash talking each other, like funny plays for each other for like funny plays. We go into solo queue, and I see Alan first time in Graga support, and then he goes phase rush and goes full AP, and he's inting. then it's always pretty funny to watch him play and then trash talk him a bit, or Masu plays some random champs and doesn't know what his job is, or I autofill on some role and I int. So you're always autofilling, right? Yeah, I mean, I think the region solo queue is way too bad for practice seriously. So I just rather practice mechanics on champs that actually require it, which is mid and AD carry. I think those roles require the most mechanics, so I just play that. Because, yeah, I think jungle role doesn't really require much mechanics. It's more of a team play role, and in solo queue, team play obviously doesn't exist. So it's just pointless to even take any ideas from solo queue or like try to practice any concepts because you just learn the wrong things. So it's better to just focus on playing lane, and I think that way you can either improve your mechanics or improve the knowledge of how strong certain champions are at certain points in the game. I mean, unless new champions come out or new items or whatever and you need to test. So that's sharpening the mechanical side. When you sharpen your understanding of the game, are you watching LCK, LPL VODs all the time? LEC VODs? To me, the game is very simple. I think there's not much left to learn about the game from like watching the game. It's more like you watch teams and see what champs they prioritize and why, because I think the game plan depends a lot on the draft. So like you see why they prio certain champs and do they agree with our prios, because obviously in draft you kind of decide how your game plan is going to go, and then I see like how the Asian teams decide to pick, like whenever Yone is meta, like I mean Yone is meta for so long, like how do they play around Yone? I'm reading this verbatim, by the way. And when they decide to give Yone, what do they do in order to win the game when enemy team has a broken champ? So yeah, I don't think I need VODs to watch to learn the game itself. It's more like you just stay up to date with the current patch and see what champions are good and why they are good. So I think that's why you mostly watch VODs. So I do not agree with this at all. I think that there's so many, like, because the game is like changing all the time, right? So like with, for example, when Otacon came out, or for example, once lane swaps were removed, I feel like there's a lot of like very specific things that I find in LPL and LCK VODs that I can tell from watching scrims NA teams just don't think about, like when they're laning or, you know, whatever I'm looking for. And I think that there's very like distinct things I can bring to the team from LPL and LCK and learn from all the time to make the team better. So maybe he just knows everything and I just don't know everything. That's obviously a possibility. But I currently can extract maybe not a lot of information, but lots of examples of a similar concept that is not thought about in North America. Like obviously from watching the scrims, not thought about from North American teams and is thought about from LCK and LPL teams. That's what I feel like. So I can skim the VODs. I mean, normally the way I watch VODs, right? Like when I'm trying to bring a presentation to the team, normally I'm looking for one thing and I'll just watch like one portion of the game from like 12 different teams. Like let's say I'm looking for something that happens at 7 minutes into the game. Like there's something that generally is important around 7 minutes into the game. Like I'm trying not to get into specifics because I don't want to like obviously leak anything. I will then go to like 12 different games and I'll go to that timer and I'll see all the different takes that the team has around this one specific idea and one concept that we are not even using in the West. So that is what I do. Do you do a good amount of VOD watching? Not really. Okay, no. I was looking at the games with people. Okay, yeah, no, I already read this. That implies you've been keeping up with the LEC. What do you think about the region, and what do you think? And do you think you would still crush the region if you were back there? I do think the region overall is better than NA. I think they are way better than NA. I think the top teams in NA can easily contest the EU teams, but I think like bottom 4 in NA would finish last place in the EU. Well, I think the bottom 4 in EU would be like 5th place in NA. Yeah, I could agree with that. But I think the top 4 in NA can also try to win LEC, so the league is just less competitive in NA, I would say. In EU, the teams, even the bottom teams, I think they can take games away from the top tier teams. I kind of agree with this. There's some teams that I think are like really bad. Like Giant X, I think is a very bad team. I think like Rogue is a very bad team. I think that these teams could lose best of 5s to like Shopify or Lion. Like I could see it happening. Even if they have like better players, just the way that they play the game is like, they look so like shattered mentally that I just don't know how they could win versus anyone. I think the players there, there's just a bigger pool of good players. So I just think you just need to be way more focused in every game if you play in EU in order to win. Well, I think in LCS, it comes down to these few games that you play against the best teams basically in playoffs. So yeah, I would say that the region is just less competitive in LCS. But as the best teams, I don't think they are way worse than EU. I feel like they might even be better. Yeah, I perceive this is exactly how I see the region. Like there's such a big gap between the top 4 and the bottom 4. It actually feels like kind of like wasted time. Like these next 2 weeks where we have to prepare a whole week and then play a best of 3 against the Skies. I mean, maybe they can beat us and that would be fucking horrible. And you know, we'd take a lot away from it, but it's like most likely that's not going to be something where you extract that much value. Whereas if you play a team like BDS, like, I think you have to put in more effort. Do you have any particular thoughts on EU's best jungler? Hell yeah. People say Razork, Yike, or Skumon. I feel like they could have just like written this and like not did it completely verbatim. I mean, I do think that Skumon has a good idea when he plays the game, and seems like Yike also does it. I think Skumon is probably the best jungler in that region. I think Yike is fine on his champs. I don't think he's that insane. I think he's very solid. Like, he just usually doesn't make many mistakes. Sometimes he overforces some plays for no reason, which I kind of dislike about him. Skumon doesn't really overforce stuff. He has a solid game plan, and he just plays towards win conditions, and I think he's EU Canyon. I think he plays pretty well. I think he has decent mechanics, so I don't really know how smart he is during the game, because obviously I don't know that. But just looking from the outside, it does seem like he's the guy that plays the game, and from different teams, it's hard to judge a jungler. I think when the team is a bit weak, I didn't really see anyone like particularly pop off. I don't think Razork is that good. I think he has been playing in Fnatic for so long, and he has so many good teammates. There's been a lot of points where other teams were looking pretty weak, and he never managed to win a season. I think that's pretty disappointing if you ask me. I just had a pretty weak memory of playing against him. I think every time I faced him, he was just doing fine or like not so good, so he really never impressed me. But obviously, I played against him a while ago, but just from watching his games, I just feel like he doesn't understand the game that well. I feel the same way. He's very aggressive. I think if his team is way better than enemies, I think he can snowball the game. But I think in close games, he might be a lose con for his team. 100%. This is very accurate. If the game is slow and you just like play two even teams match each other. Wait, if the game is slow and you just play like two even teams match each other, I think he might be the lose con for his team. Where do you put Skumon against NA junglers? I think me and him are probably the best two junglers in EU and NA combined. You can decide whoever you think is better, but I think it's just us two, or I think it's us two. All right, cool. Let's go to this. Let's go to the draft.